Hello, hi everybody. It's Colleen with Chalk Couture, coming in with a super cute little buffalo plaid bag. Can anyone guess where I got this little baby from? I'll let you see it. I'll bet you can guess. I'll bet you can. Let me just share this super quick. And then we'll see if anybody has a guess. Okay, we are shared. Where do you think I got this cute little bag? Can you see it? It's got a cute little pom-pom on it. Guess where? One of my favorite places. The Target dollar spot. Love it. How cute is that? It's a really nice sized little bag that I thought would be perfect for just about anything. Actually, you know what? Now that I'm looking at this might be nice to fit my iPad in there and then my day planner in there and keep everything handy in this cute little bag. But we gotta jazz it up, right? I mean, come on, this is Chalk Couture. So what can we put on it? What can we do? I dug this one out of my archives. This cute little guy here, Sparkle. I thought that's all it really needs. Just a little tiny something on the front of it to make it pop with Chalk Couture. I thought, how fun would that be? So that's all we're going to do tonight. Just add just a little tiny Chalk Couture touch to this bag. And we are doing it in ink. So I have my ink pad, which you can see has been loved a lot. I've got different projects all over on here. And I actually need to get a new one. It's still got a little sticky to it, so we're going to use it. This goes inside, and all that does is it's sticky, so it's going to hold my surface in place, just applying some pressure so that it's nice and snug inside there, so I'm not going to be able to move around in there. And it also acts as a barrier so that it doesn't bleed through onto the other side, my chalk. And you can see I've already got chalk paste all over my fingers. Not too bad though, just a little bit. And then this being one of our older transfers, it actually has the instructions right on the back already. So no need to worry about writing back on it because I can tell that's the back. It's got the instructions on it, right? And I can see that that's the shiny side, so that's where I'm going to return my transfer to. And the reason that we do that, if it doesn't have the label already on it, which has the awesome instructions, everything that I'm going over here in my live, but the reason that we want to make sure we're replacing it to the right side is because we can use this transfer over and over again. It is sticky. It is a silk screen, so our chalk or our ink is going to go right through the silk screen sections here and come out onto our surface. Whatever that surface may be, that is completely up to you. You can use transfers on just about anything that you can imagine, and you can use them both with ink or with chalk. So you can make a cute little bag like this with the chalk, with the ink, and then I can turn around and use this transfer and put it on a chalkboard or a piece of wood and use chalk paste. So it's got so many uses. I am just making sure that I'm not having any bubbles in my silk screen area, and I did not fuzz my transfer. And what do I mean by fuzzing my transfer? The reason that we typically fuzz our transfer is I would normally take the transfer and put it on a towel and pick up the lint from my towel onto the back of my transfer to make it less sticky. The reason that we do that typically on other surfaces like chalkboards or glass or mirrors is because especially when the transfer is new, it is very sticky. So in that circumstance, it will stick to your surface pretty good, and then you're going to have a hard time getting it off, and then you're going to wind up stretching your transfer, and we don't want that to happen. But when we are using ink and our transfers on different textiles like this, which is cloth, t-shirts or things like that, I don't fuzz my transfers because I want a nice tight seal here, so that way I don't have any bleeding of my ink. So this is going to be lightning fast. I feel like it might be a little crooked, but I can't tell. Hold on, let me hold it up. Maybe just a tad. Well, it's okay. I feel like it's okay. I'm going to go with it because I have a nice, I just went and pushed down on it so it's nice and tight. So I'm just grabbing a little bit of chalk paste onto my squeegee. The reason that we use squeegees are because they're very rubbery. It's like a silicone based material, I think. Not actually sure what it's made of, but it's very rubbery. And the reason that we use this and not something that's a little bit harder, hello Amanda, the reason that we use this and not something that's a little bit harder would be because we don't want to hit in the silkscreen area and ruin our transfer. So it's nice to have something that is like rubbery like this is, so it's not going to damage our silkscreen area. So like I said, lightning fast, this is all that you need to do. I have my mat there so it's not going to bleed through. Just a little bit of our couture ink. I'm literally just covering the silkscreen area. And the ink is a lot thinner than the chalk paste, so you do not need a lot of ink for your projects. A little bit does go a long way in this case. And don't worry about putting too much on because we can always take it right back off and put it right into our jar. So I added more, which I'm not going to need, and I'll put that right back into my jar. So I'm just going back over it one more time just to make sure I have a nice coverage and it's going through the silkscreen and I'm not missing any of the tips of the letters, which I'm famous for doing. And I'm just trying to get some of the lines out of there. I don't know if you can see that on the screen or not. And then any other excess that I do have left goes right back into the jar. And then that way I can get many, many more projects out of this. I check my hands all the time just to make sure I don't have any of the ink because I don't want to have it on my fingers and touch here and then get an ink spot. So that's why we always check our fingers first, especially with ink. And then when you're removing your transfer, you want to take care to not stretch it. So we just evenly pull it across like that so that we're not stretching it. And can you see sparkle in there in black? How cute is that? So here's our little $3 Target bag that we just took up a notch with Chalk Couture. How fun is that? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this mat for a hot second because I want to go ahead and heat this. And all I'm doing is making sure that the ink is good and dry before I iron this to make this permanent. So while I'm thinking of it, let's just go ahead. I'm throwing my transfer and my squeegee into the pan of water that I have off to the side. And I'm just going to close up this jar of ink. I just don't want it to dry out, especially because I'm about to turn the dryer on. And I just got ink all over my fingers from closing it. That's okay. The ink does come off and chalk paste does come off. No worries, it's all organic. So let's give this a quick dry. You need to make sure that your ink is good and dry before you iron it. Because once you put the parchment paper on there and you go to iron it, you might smear the ink. So just make sure it's good and dry. It usually just takes a few minutes, but I'm being extra cautious, just making sure. Hello, Rhonda. Okay, let's just give this a quick feel here and see if this is dry yet. Okay, doesn't feel tacky at all to me, so I feel like we're pretty good. Let me just make sure. Okay, I think we're pretty good. So the final step in making this permanent is getting a piece of parchment paper. And I already have my iron on off to the side here. Whoops, which I think... What the heck did it just shut off on me? Let me see what's going on. I'm not sure. Let me see if that's hot. Yep, that's hot. There we go. Okay. I think it just shut off. So I'm just going to leave it here. I don't want to move it too much while I'm doing it the first time. Once I just set this down for a few. Typically we iron it for 4 minutes on each side. And then once I feel like I've had this on here for a few seconds, then I can kind of move it around. I just don't like to right off the bat just in case it wasn't dry. And if I'm sliding the iron all over, I might be spreading out my ink on here, and I don't want to do that. And so typically we just let this go for 4 minutes. Normally we do it inside and out, but in this case this bag has like a liner in it, so I don't really know that I want to iron that, to be honest with you. So I think I'm okay with just ironing the outside just for 4 minutes. And that really is all there is to it, my friends. So easy to do. And then what I'll do is I'll turn this off over here. Okay. Okay, so pretend that that was 4 minutes and you're all set. Now, this can be washed just like a shirt or towels, like kitchen towels or anything that you're going to use ink on. Once you heat set it, it is good. It's not going anywhere. And how adorable is that cute little bag with sparkle on it? I thought that was adorable. So let's show you how to go about cleaning your transfers. I'm going to slide that to the side. Move our carrier sheet. And I'm going to bring my towel over here. And like I said to you, I have my pan of water off to the side, and I have the transfer was soaking in there. As soon as I removed it from the bag, I put it right into the water, and the water actually starts to help to get some of the chalk or ink off. You can see it kind of did a lot of the work for me already. This is just come right out of the water. Let me just clean off this squeegee real fast. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to actually grab, let's get in here, grab my board eraser, and I'm just going to get that wet a little bit on the edge. And that actually helps to get the ink or chalk off of your transfer. And it's okay that typically sometimes with your darker inks or pastes, they will stain your transfer, and that's okay. So long as the silkscreen area is clear, you're good to go. Now you can see I had a lot of lint on the back of here that pulled up from that bag. So what I want to use here is I want to try to get some of that lint off. And the best thing, I mean, the board eraser does kind of work pretty good for lint, but it did actually work really well for lint. But I like to use a disinfectant wipe because I feel like, let's see if that will help. If I wet it with the disinfectant wipe and then I use the board eraser, let's see. Oh yeah, that worked really well. Getting all that lint off of there. So that looks a heck of a lot better. And then, once you leave it sit here for just a minute or two, it's actually going to start to get sticky again. So try and get some of this lint. There we go. And it doesn't have to be perfect. It's okay if some lint does stay on there. It's not a big deal, because once it dries really well, it's going to bring your stickiness back. And then we can return it to its carrier sheet. And I'll show you how to do that. So pretend that's drying off, drying off. You can see that the stickiness is back to the transfer, okay? And so we take, and normally if it's blank on the back, you would just write back, but this transfer has the instructions on the back like I mentioned earlier. So we're just gonna line this right up. And right back on the carrier sheet it goes. And we are good to go. We can then use this transfer again and again. We guarantee between 8 and 12 uses. But if you take care of it and clean it just like I just showed, you will get a lot more uses out of your transfers. So here is tonight's project. I hope you guys enjoyed. I think that is super cute, little sparkle bag that we have going on tonight. Thanks so much for watching, and I will talk to you later. Bye.